Stargirl Season 2, Episode 13, the finale. I actually really enjoyed this episode. There are slight flaws in it that I particularly didn't like and I felt was a little bit rushed, but for the most part, I am very thrilled with this. Everybody actually got to do something finally. Nobody was like, oh, woe is me from like last season. So I was really happy about that. But there were some things in this thing that were a bit tacked on and just rushed. And some people just appeared out of nowhere. And it's kind of like, oh, where you been? And stuff like that. So those were the things that kind of bothered me. But for the most part, I am very thrilled with this episode. It was very action packed. Like for the first 20 something minutes, a lot of action, and after that, a lot of dialogue. It was the first half that I really enjoyed. I've been wanting action in this season for a long time. That's one of the things I kept complaining about. This finale is good, but the first season finale was a million times better. Things actually made more sense and went from plot A to plot B to plot C in the first season finale. In this finale, it just felt like point A scattered a little bit in part B, and then we just heard him get to point C so we can like set up for next season. But yeah. So it's not like one of those episodes, because this entire season I've been feeling like this, it's been very CW-fied, and when we get towards the end of this episode, it gets very CW-fied, and that what really bothers me and stuff. So it starts off with Eclipso. He's over there at Beth's place, and Dr. Mid-Niter is there, and Eclipso's all talking about like, oh, you know, how he's gonna get her and stuff like that, and about your parents, and so she's worried, so she runs to go find her parents, and her family are actually in danger. They see a version of her just berating the whole like divorce thing and all this other stuff, and she's upset because, you know, it's not her actually saying this stuff, it's Eclipso, and she doesn't want her family to feel like really upset about this. So it's nice they gave her something, because it's something she's been dealing with all season. However, when it does come to her and her divorce, or her parents' divorce, like I said before, I could care less, because in the first season, her family barely showed up. So now all of a sudden, they had to give her something to do this season. So she's been dealing with that all season. But she's been dealing with it like a little kid, which is, it's not that surprising. Because when you think of the Beth character, she's a teenager who acts like a kid, but dresses like a middle-aged woman. So she's just like all over the place, like maturity wise and stuff. So I can see how that would affect her if she's seeing how she acts like a kid, but at the same time, you know, you are a teenager. Oh wait, I actually forgot, it didn't start off with Beth, it started off with Jenny. She was asleep. Somehow there's that weird shadowy residue stuff from the last episode, and it's been like giving her like nightmares and stuff, and she had a version of like dark Stargirl. And so what's her face, Courtney's mom wakes her up, and then they get like a knock at the door, and it's the Shade, but we don't know it's the Shade yet. They don't even show him. And so he pretty much regenerated himself, because when Eclipso trying to bring the shadow world into Earth, somehow it resurrected him. See, that part pisses me off, because that was just rushed. I didn't know that would do that to him. I assumed that dude was dead, because they really made it seem like that. It reminds me of the whole Walking Dead Glenn fake out death thing. It's like, how many fake out deaths are they gonna have this season? There's been too many. There was Cindy, then there was Shade the first time, then there's Shade the second time, and you know, and it's just too many fake out deaths. And so like, he heads over to Beth's place to help her and stuff, and then he ends up kind of like, I guess, like making that version of Eclipso kind of like disappear, and her family are free. And so then her family is just like all like, oh, who is this and everything, and so and stuff. And so they want to know like what's going on, because they're completely in the dark, but no longer are they in the dark. So she suits up And so does Mid-Nite, and it's funny they wearing the exact same costume. I assume he'll be wearing like a different version because the JSA had two different versions of costumes and flashbacks. And so but it was cool seeing them doubly up like costume wise and stuff. And the parents all like, "Who is this man?" And no, 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 no. Where you taking my daughter? And she's all like, "Look, I'm a superhero. He's a superhero. We're gonna do some superhero stuff." And so I like how she took charge because she's just like a kitty person, you know. Then we get to the big action battle part, and this is the part I'm very thrilled for. I was so happy to see that. Like, this season has been deprived of action the entire season. There was only one real episode that actually had action, and maybe like two or three that had like mini action scenes. And with a superhero show, you'd think they would bring on the action. And also, like, this is the Arrowverse. They're known for actually doing action. They don't do much of it, but they're known for doing it. And even in last season, like the action scenes, like they would sporadically come out of nowhere, and like whenever they happen, they made sure it happened like big time, you know. So that was very disappointing in this season when there was really no action whatsoever. And so I was very thrilled for this episode. But still, the best episode is the one where they fought in school and Eclipso actually came out and wreaked havoc and stuff. So everybody is joining along. Yolanda has finally like gotten over her like whatever it is she's dealing with, and she's suited up because of Cindy in last episode. Cindy is actually acting very nice. She's acting even nice to Pat, and I knew this was gonna happen. I knew they was gonna like flip her character where she's like the nice girl now and she feels bad for the stuff she did. Like, I'm sorry, she's still an angry murderer. Like, that would be like if Lex Luthor would tell Superman, "Hey man, I'm sorry, can I join like the Justice League?" Well, actually he did do that in the comic books and stuff and other time. But it's like that. Like, it's just so weird, bonkers, out of place, you know? She's caused them so much pain. Like, they would not even be in this mess with Eclipse so it wasn't for her. But you know, they need her help, but she wasn't much help in the fight. She ends up actually, like, her and Stargirl are actually doing a pretty good job trying to fight Eclipso and stuff like that. But then after a while he tosses them like through a building and halfway down to the ground, and they're out for most of the fight. Now what's really cool about this fight was seeing, like, you know, Yolanda fight the other Wildcat, but a hallucination. And it was just so cool to see Ted like fight Yolanda and stuff. So that was really cool. My only problem with her fights are, I get they want her to be cat-like, but sometimes they kind of overdo it with the wire work to where she moves too gracefully and it looks a little too CGI-ish because they're trying to cover up for the wires and stuff. I like appreciate a bit more when it's like Titans and Nightwing's like flipping around, but of course he has to be more of the hard hitting flipping type thing, and she's more of the graceful cat-like person, you know. But sometimes they just need to watch it with that wire work because it gets kind of like wonky at times. But that was nice that she fought her mentor type person who never actually mentored her, the first version of Wildcat. So I like that. So, and then of course, you know, like I said, with Cindy and Stargirl, you know, they was like fighting on Eclipso, but he's just too powerful for them. And so like, so then with Rick is somebody I've been a little like upset with this entire season because they have not given him much to nothing to do, and he's just pretty much been doing the loner thing out in the woods feeding Grundy, and that wasn't much of a storyline whatsoever, especially from last season. Now, I will get more into season 2. I do an overall thing because, like I said before, the CW broke my heart with Stargirl because this was literally my favorite superhero show because all the other ones been disappointing me and stuff. Well, I like Doom Patrol, but I think Doom Patrol had a way of tricking people into thinking they was great because they keep repeating the same formula over and over and over. And I don't know what the world is going on in season 3. Like, I have no idea. And so, like, so she heads out with all of them. And, oh, wait, I'm at Rick now. So, Rick is trying to fix, like, his hourglass thing because he smashed it a couple of episodes ago. I don't know why he would be the one to fix it. He's not Mr. Fix-It. He's just Mr. Grumpy who breaks stuff and is really strong. So, and of course, he doesn't know how to fix it. But he tells them straight up, you know, he suits up, which his suit is the only one that looks terrible on him. Everybody else's suit looks cool, but his looks weird, man. And so, like, he said he's gonna just go out there and he has the strength within himself or something like that. And so I knew what he was gonna do. I knew what he was gonna do when he went into the fight. And what does he do? He brings Grundy, and I'm just like, I totally saw that coming. So, like, because he doesn't have no powers to fight Eclipso, and so Grundy comes in. He does like he's such a Hulk version in this. Like the thing about Solomon Grundy, which a lot of people don't realize if they were just watching this, is that Solomon Grundy used to be like a gangster who was all about stealing like money and jewels and all that other stuff. He somehow something ends up happening. He gets cursed and he dies and turns into a zombie. But as a zombie, he's able to talk and speak to people, but in a very stupid manner. But they've made him very much like the Hulk. Even his design is based off the Hulk a little bit. And so he punches the mess out of Eclipso a little bit, but then Eclipso uses his power and puts a giant hole through his stomach, killing him. This upsets Rick, and he tries to fight Eclipso, and then of course Eclipso just smacks him around and knocks him out for the rest of the fight. Like, what was he thinking? Like, I don't get that. But back to what Rick was doing and the people he was with. Oh, he was there with Mike. I don't like Mike. Mike needs to stay home and play Pictionary or something like that. Or just play something. But stay out of the superhero business. So he's there with the mechanic dude. The mechanic dude's trying to fix Stripes. And so the mechanic dude now knows everything. He knows everybody's identity. He knows all this. And it's just like, why would they tell him? Why? Why? And then the dude just seems pretty okay with it, laid back. I've been wondering if this dude was like an alien or a shapeshifter or somebody from like the past or something, but no, he's just a regular mechanic dude. And now he knows everybody's identity, and he's just totally okay with that. It's such a CW thing to do. It's such a Greg Bertinelli thing to do. I hate when he does that. Everybody's identity is like always exposed and crap. And so like he so he's doing all that, and but they don't have like a part that they need or like a fuel source or something like that. And so Mike and I forgot his name, the black dude. He's there. Thunderbolt finally comes back from China with all this food and gifts and everything like that. And so when he comes back, they wish for like the thing to be fixed, and so it's fixed. And so Mike goes there, fighting Eclipso, and he's actually whooping his butt, and he's shooting flames at him, and he has like the chainsaw, and then he turns around, shakes his butt at like Eclipso. I have I have mixed feelings about that. Like in some parts it was cool and funny, and in other parts I just can't stand Mike. And it kind of took me out of the moment of everybody trying to stop Eclipso with him, acting like Beast Boy and everything from Teen Titans or anything from Teen Titans Go. But then of course Eclipso ends up whooping on like Mike because the dude with Thunderbolt. I don't like Thunderbolt, by the way. I think he's just too silly goofy for this show. I mean, the show is like it's a happy-go-lucky show with some darkness to it, but it always managed to stay happy-go-lucky. He's too happy-go-lucky. He's in the realm of silliness. So the dude wishes that he will electrocute Eclipso. Well, for some dumb reason, Thunderbolt decides instead of standing where he's at and electrocuting him, he's gonna fly straight through him and electrocute him. This was a huge mistake because Eclipso pretty much just grabs him and then tosses him into Mike and electrocutes Mike and everything. Also, I don't understand how the electrical lights from Thunderbolt didn't weaken like Eclipso, because light is supposed to be like his thing, and I don't know. But I just thought it was like really stupid at Thunderbolt. This is why I don't want him on the show no more. Plus, his CGI is going to be hard to make. Like, that's why they didn't have him in the entire season or in first season, because his CGI is just too much money. The reason why they didn't have Stripe, the robot, too much money. And the reason why Solomon Grundy hasn't been featured in every episode, too much money. And so, Pat, he's all, I never did talk about Pat yet. So Pat just fought like a version of himself when everybody was like fighting and stuff like that. And then That the Mid-Niter told me no, it's an illusion, blah blah blah. But then Pat's all like upset. He's trying to like get to his son and stuff like that. But Eclipso ends up taking Pat and twists his arm about to break it and tells Courtney straight up, "I'm about to rip his arm off and everything." Like unless you tell me like how you feel and everything. And so he goats her into revealing her true feelings towards Eclipso. And she tells him straight up, and I love the way she screamed at. Like, I love this actress so much, man. God bless her acting soul. She screams at him, "I hate you." And that's what he needed right then and there. Because out of all the JSA members, Courtney and Beth, for the most part, were the hardest ones to break. Beth got broken a little bit, but because of the goggles, she was safe. Courtney, on the other hand, has been the hardest one to break of them all. And I'm assuming it's because of the staff. Because her will can't be that strong, you know. But he finally gets her to reveal her true feelings, because I don't think she's ever hated nobody. Like, she's been pissed, but she's never like hated nobody. And so he finally reveals his plan of what he's been wanting to do this entire time. I'm like, well, it's about time, man. You went the entire season and nobody knows what the world you want. He wants to possess Courtney. He wants to bring the world, of the shadow world into this world, and he wants to be a god. But in order to do that, he needs the power of both the shadow and the light. And since she has the staff and it's a cosmic being, that's the much light source that he needs. And so then he possesses her, because in order to possess her, she has to have hatred in her heart, which now she finally does. Because this was this whole thing about being, he tells her, pissing off her friends, making them sad and depressed, having them break up with her, having them separate from her, is all so that she could hate him, and she finally does. He possesses her in that one picture that got leaked last week. Also in the trailer too. And I'm thinking to myself, finally, his whole plan should have been kind of like half revealed. As soon as he got revealed into our world, they went the entire season of me just everybody else just thinking he's just there to make everybody sad and depressed. But no, he had a reason. And I'm thinking to myself, this season's too short. I don't like her seasons being 13 episodes. It should be like a traditional CW show where it's like 22 episodes. By the 11th episode, this episode should have happened as a mid-season finale. Him possessing her, telling what he really wanted to do, and then the second half they should have like taken her out, but they don't. So this has to get now super rushed. And I love Dark Courtney. She was awesome. I loved the voice. I loved the way she walked. I loved the way she acted. I loved how she had the staff, but it gets cut short. Why? Because all of a sudden the original Starman shows up, and I'm just like, where the world has this man been? He got introduced at the end of the first season. Then he got introduced in the premiere, and he talked to Pat's ex-wife looking for Pat. And of course we all assume, okay, he wants the Pat because Pat has the staff. He wants his staff back. But then I started thinking, is he real or is he somebody else under the disguise? And then that's all we saw of him. He doesn't show up no more after that, except for like flashbacks. So all of a sudden he pops back up, and he's all like, "You're not the only like bearer of the staff," and he grabs it, and then they float up in the air, and he's like doing something with the staff that Courtney's not able to do, and then poof, be gone. Eclipso gets sucked up out of her, and they fall to the ground, and he catches her. That's it. That is it. And that's something that pisses me off. I wanted to see more Dark Courtney, but then it ends just like that. And it ends out of like the strangest like way ever, the most random way ever. He just appears out of nowhere. Like he was able to track down Pat. And it just pisses me off. I think the woman who played Pat's ex-wife is somebody who's actually really famous. So for her to have a cameo even pisses me off even more. So I don't like how this was resolved. And so Eclipso's on the ground, and then Jade all of a sudden shows up, and then all of a sudden Shade, and as I said, Jade, whatever, Jenny shows up, and then Shade shows up, and then all of a sudden we see Eclipso get smacked in the head with a baseball and then get shot with a couple of green mini arrows. I'm just like, wait, is Green Arrow alive? No, it's more randomness, rushness. It is the Crooks and everything. It's Artemis, it's Tigress, it's Sportsmaster. They show up out of nowhere. And all like, we're here to help for the fight. They're like, Cindy called us and Artemis broke us out of jail. I'm like, what? What? That was super rushed. So they want to help save the world in which they have helped like cause chaos and everything? Because I've been wondering, where has Artemis been since Eclipso has come back? She literally ran off and nobody knew where she was. It would have been nice to see what she's been up to, but no, this is the CW Stargirl now, and they can't show what happened because they have to rush along with the story that went absolutely nowhere for an entire season. So everybody just hits them all with their energy blast, and then the one dude, is it Joaquin, or something like that? He wishes that Eclipso was toast. So as they all blasted him, poof, smoke, and he turns to the toast, like bread toast. And I'm just like, I don't know how I feel about that. Because he's now toast. Literal toast. Like they could have, like, because the thing about it's the light that kills Eclipso. So the light should have been able to kill him. Just like in the Justice League cartoon. And so, like, they're like, well, what do we do with him now? They're like, we need to put him in a place nobody can find him. I'm like, okay, well, if you bury him, what if somebody finds him? What if somehow he gets free? I mean, he's literally toast now. Like, just throw him in the sun. You ever think about that? Because, gee, I don't know. Because since the dude hate light, that's the biggest light source of them all. So I'm not too thrilled about how the ending to the fight got rushed. And how all these random people just show up. Like, how in the world did the Crooks know that Cindy and all of them will be in that exact spot? How? They don't know. Because they had to rush the writing. So after this, Beth's parents had now taken an interest in her being a superhero. They're cool with her being a superhero now. Because their baby helped save the world. Even though she didn't do nothing in the fight. Because she has no powers and stuff. And so, like, they want to enhance her suit with nanotech, make it black and gold. That might be the version she looks like in the comic. I'm not sure. I know Our Man, Rick version is, but I don't know about her. And so she's very annoyed by this, which is surprising because her parents are supposed to be her best friends in season 1. And now they're taking an interest in something she likes. And she's annoyed by that now because she feels smothered. But then they're like, divorce? What divorce? We can't get divorced now. So now that entire storyline is just like done, kaput. All because they saw that their daughter is a superhero. So they're like, man, we don't need to get divorced. And I'm just like, it was a storyline I didn't care for to begin with. It was super duper rushed. And now all of a sudden, it's just like, whatever. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, that's just bad writing all around when they had to rush something like that. And this is why it should never been 13 episodes. So Beth finds out the Mid-Nighters like, folks, Shay's all like, he's staying in the town. I'm like, why is he staying for? His job is done. But I think he might try to like scam on Pat's wife. I just have that feeling. I think now since he saved the world, now he's ready to be a villain again, probably. And so Starman, he's all like, he's gonna stay. He's gonna teach Courtney how to use the staff better. So he's gonna stay at Pat's place. But then the Crooks decide they're gonna buy the home next door and be neighbors. And I'm just like, you've got to be kidding me. And I love when Courtney cussed and said the F word in the episode, but they cut it off. Because even I felt that way. Because it's like, now the show is too overcrowded. Because now Cindy has asked Yolanda, she wants to join the JSA. And I'm just like, this show in the 3rd season, I already knew it was going to get crowded. Because certain people got cast as main cast members. Like Starman and the Crooks. And I'm just like, the JSA is too big. It's too big. It's too big. It is now too big. It's too big of a show. And you see how clustered it was this season where Beth and Rick didn't have much to do. So now you have the JSA 2.0. You have Joaquin and Thunderbolt. You have, of course, Pat's son and wife. You now have Beth's parents joining the team. Starman is now there. Tigress, Sportsmaster, and Artemis are now in the gonna be in the JSA at some point, or at least on the show full time. And now Sydney is probably gonna join because now she has an epiphany and it has turned good. It's like, no, this is too many people, and it's gonna be a mess in the third season. And this is what the CW loves to do. They love bringing in more heroes and villains, mushing them all together and putting them in one big superhero group. This is what has ruined so many CW shows, or at least the Arrowverse shows. But then Jenny has now left, and she leaves off screen. I feel like there was really no point in bringing Jenny in, because it's just like, what was the point? She didn't turn into Green Lantern. She can't go to Oa because this version of the Green Lantern isn't. Their rings don't come from Oa, unless they're gonna change it for the show. But then they set it up for next season with her brother and the skeleton dude, voiced by Keith Davis. Ah, man, that voice. That voice. I miss hearing that voice. But here's the thing. Now, the skeleton dude, I'm not sure who he is. I have to re-look back in online because I'm not familiar with him because I don't read comics. But it's the Helios, I think, project or something like that, and he's gonna set that up for being a villain in next season. I forgot what the title of next season is gonna be called. Oh, Frenemies. Oh, Lord Jesus. However, I can get behind the next season being called Frenemies because with the whole summer school thing, I never understood that. Like, it never made no sense as to why this season was called Summer School. Yeah, it takes place in the summer, but it didn't have much stuff to do in school. But all in all, like I said, I enjoyed this episode for the first half. It's just that second half, I don't like how things were rushed, how storylines just got dropped all of a sudden because they had to like wrap it all up really fast. And I don't like the overcrowdedness that's about to happen in season 3. But at least this episode was enjoyable. Like, it was good, but it has flaws. Season 1 finale was better, but hey, you know how it is. Alrighty, well, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.